Russia is joining the OECD Anti-Bribery Convention. Here at the OECD, we are joined by Elena Panfilova, who is the Director of Transparency International's Moscow office. Elena, can you tell us what does this mean for Russia?
It means that Russia is just becoming more member of G8 countries, because other G8 countries already members of OECD Anti-Bribery Convention, and Russia for many years was lacking basic anti-corruption legislation. And joining the OECD Convention is actually fulfilling this loophole, addressing the issue of foreign bribery, addressing the issue of responsibility of legal persons, of businesses, of middlemen. And Russia needed it to have its legal system to fight against corruption more complete and more sound. The problem is, as always, not what is in the book, but what is in the real life. So this is also good news, because OECD Anti-Bribery Convention is famous for its monitoring mechanisms. It's not one of those conventions which you sign and never implement. It's impossible with the OECD Convention to do that.
So this is a very significant move for Russia.
Yes, I don't think we can expect a serious progress anytime soon. But definitely it's important that Russia will be participating in the working group of foreign bribery. There will be questions asked, there will be exchange of information, and eventually those officials, Russian officials who will be representing our country in the convention, will learn what it's all about, that you have to be serious. And there are progress reports published every year. And some countries, long-standing members, are being criticized for lack of enforcement. And definitely Russia will have to try to do everything possible not to be in that list of countries who signed but never implemented. Russia is unfortunately systemically corrupt country, which means that we have in our daily life all possible forms of corruption, from petty bribery, administrative corruption, grant corruption, political corruption, kickbacks in procurement, name them all. And the corruption is spread from the municipal level, from small businesses level, to very high cabinets of power. And that makes it difficult to, first of all, assess it, second, to create adequate program to confront it, and third, to do something about it in real life. The bad news is that government only lately became active against corruption. Only in last 2-3 years, President Medvedev started to do something to curb corruption, adopting legislation, starting few real investigations. But the good news is that Russian civil society, and most importantly, awakening middle class, express much greater concern about corruption. And it's not any more silent public sitting there and suffering from corruption. We see in my organization and around my organizations more and more people asking very uncomfortable, direct, harsh questions and expecting the government to answer those questions.
The legislation that Russia is introducing under the convention applies to Russian companies operating abroad. But what does this mean in practice for foreign companies operating in Russia?
Yeah, for foreign companies, definitely those who are proactively paying bribes will have to be much more careful, because there are companies which are paying bribes. This is a business as usual, and there are multinationals and internationals who are coming to Russia believing that this is a land of impossible opportunities, and they use corrupt means to achieve those opportunities, to achieve their business goals. But there are companies which come with their compliance programs, with their due diligence, and they want to construct honest business, even in Russia. For them, the major challenge is corrupt extortion, because Russian corruption is slightly different in some instances as compared to corruption in a lot of other countries, because here you can see situations where business doesn't want to pay bribe, but it's being extorted. So our task is to help such businesses, to protect them from corrupt extortion and corrupt trade, but businesses should know about it. They should know about such a possibility to become a target of corrupt extortion, and they should definitely make any possible preventive actions not to become one.
The way you describe it, it sounds as if Russia will be the most corrupt country belonging to the OECD Convention. Is that fair?
There are countries which are compatible in some instances to that, because even some long-standing members in Western countries have pretty serious problems with political corruption, and we see several investigations going on in southern European countries regarding corrupt allegations. But yeah, the situation in Russia is much more complicated, because all those countries who are already members, they have at least 10, 20 years of history of fighting corruption. And our history of fighting corruption in only 3 years. So we have to do something. Yes, we have to be more active about it, but it so much relies on political will. So public will is definitely present. So
is the political will there?
Yeah, our major challenge is to ensure that there is sustainable political will, that it doesn't go away if the president changes.
Would you say that this marks a new stage in Russia's participation in the international community of nations?
It's just another very important and needed step to become normal member of normal community, of those people who know how to tell bad from wrong, black from white, and just adopting the common language where corruption is corruption but not something else.
Elena Panfilova, thank you very much for joining us at INSEAD Knowledge.
Thank you very much.